Join Daniel on a transformative journey as he shares insights, stories, and practical strategies to inspire, motivate, and help you unlock your true potential. Having generated more than 30 million views on his content and working with some of the world's most celebrated actors and musicians, Daniel brings a wealth of experience and wisdom to each episode. Daniel will guide you on a path of self-discovery and personal growth and help you chart your own course to personal mastery.
Great Scott! You're listening to the Growth Time Machine with Daniel Curtis. Don't forget to follow. Your future depends on it.
Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of the Growth Time Machine. I'm your host Daniel Curtis, and in this episode we're going to talk about a subject very near and dear to my heart, the subject of loneliness. Christmas is a time of celebration for many. Christmas is a time of coming together with friends and family and people who love you and people ultimately who you want to spend time with. That is the story for some. For others, it is a reminder that perhaps they do not have anyone, or the people they want to be with are no longer with us, or the people they want to be with are at a different point in their lives, and perhaps somewhere else in the world. But it is a reminder of how vulnerable we actually are. What scares me about loneliness is you can be the most outgoing, kind of most flirty, or, whatever word you want to put on it, person in the world. But inside your heart, you know if you've got someone who really truly cares about you, cares about who you are as a person, who wants to be with you, not because they have to be, but because they want to be. I am often at this time of year reminded of the film The Holiday and the incredible portrayal of the character Arthur by Eli Wallach. It is by far one of my favourite cinematic characters of all time. I truly believe that performance by Eli Wallach is one of the most endearingly charming performances that I have ever seen on film. It's beautiful. And Arthur is someone with unbelievable amounts of talent, someone who had achieved everything, who had acclaim from his peers within that film, and people who wanted to wish him well. But how many of those people were in contact with Arthur on a daily basis? And maybe that's because Arthur stood in his own way. Perhaps he thought that he was redundant, that nobody ultimately truly wanted to be part of his life, to be invested in him. But when he meets Kate Winslet's character, they both find in each other someone who makes them feel worthy, someone who they do not have to pretend to be someone else around. And I truly believe that for most of us is what we're seeking. Somebody who truly understands us, who wants to be with us, someone who wants to stay in the mud with us. They may not have the answers to our problems. They may not be able to solve our problems, but they are with us in the mud. They are willing to go through our pain and suffering with us. And even though perhaps we're taking the bullets, maybe they're just picking up the shells behind us, but my goodness, you know they are with you. What scares me though is that you can be surrounded by people, and that brilliant line by Michael Bublé, Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel alone. And I just think, yeah, it's true. You could be surrounded by a million people and still feel alone. And there are so many times in my life where I can honestly go back to and remember feeling utterly in despair, that nobody had my best interests at heart. And I'm not saying that I was correct, by the way, but that was the way I'd made myself feel. Being lonely makes you feel incredibly isolated, unloved, unworthy. And perhaps you do not even put yourself out there anymore because you feel pretty worthless. We all need people. We've all come from families, regardless of how our family looked. We were born around people. And back in our history, going back in our ancestry line, our families were all part of tribes and communities are lost now. Communities are lost. And that's one of the things that's happened in society that's made everything just a heck of a lot worse, is that no longer can you really just go out into the world and find people who are similar to you. And that ultimately is what we're seeking. And I hate the fact that I'm kind of stealing this from Simon Sinek, because I love Simon Sinek, but I have no better words of my own. And he talks about how if you are kind of walking through an airport, you see somebody who is reading the same book as you, you're more inclined to say something to them because you know you've got a connection in common. Or he talks about how Starbucks is a symbol status, really, and how perhaps, people who have iPhones or, iPads, or also, there's a similar bond. You kind of go, oh yeah, look, they're an iPad person, or yeah, they're an iPhone person. These things which perhaps seem really trivial, but yet they give us some kind of connection. And I always think of it like when I went on holiday. So you go on holiday and you'd be in some remote, resort on the edge of the Greek Isles or something. And, you're surrounded by British people and you start talking to them and they go, oh yeah, I'm from Manchester. And suddenly you strike up this incredible connection. It wasn't that you just got on a plane and travelled to Greece, surrounded by people from the UK, and you've suddenly now gone into a place where everybody is not like me anymore. They're human, but no longer are these people from the UK. But now I've found my people, and it's in reality we're always looking for connections. We're always seeking connections. And within those connections, that is what brings a lot of joy and pleasure to our lives. And that should never be forgotten, that it's with people. Why would anyone want to climb to the top of a mountain on their own and then look to the side of them and not see someone to share it with? It is desperately difficult this time of year for some people. And I just want to say that there are people out here in this great community which we live in who really deserve someone this Christmas. Can I ask of you a favor? If you have not heard from someone for a while, could you reach out to them? Drop them a message. Just ask them how they are. Send them a voice message. Instead of giving a present, say, let's get together in the new year and do something. If someone reaches out to you this Christmas, I know perhaps inside of you, you are like, I'll get back to that in the new year. I'm really, really busy. And that's amazing. But just remember that they've possibly reached out to you for a reason. You might mean more to them than you think. They may need you. And I am just asking if you can spare just a few moments to reach out to someone you've not heard from, to exchange those gifts with family members, even if you do not see the point. Those cards, which for some seem like a waste of paper, actually let someone know that you care enough about them to write them a card. Within those little things are possibly moments that tell people that they are loved and cared about. And if you can spare some time this Christmas to do that, to reach out to friends and family members, and just offer the hand of friendship, the hand of kindness, you may just help someone not feel so lonely this year. I've been in places in my life where I felt like no one was listening to me, that I was utterly isolated, completely alone, that I had no one to talk to or turn to. And it's by far one of the saddest things. I sometimes stand in my own way, and I've chosen, perhaps, to be lonely. And sometimes many of us want to be on our own, but I don't think we want to be lonely. There is a difference. Even if you think someone is standing in their own way and you've reached out to them 5 times and they've not got back to you, sometimes it's the question that we ask. Sometimes instead of how are you, a very simple question, it's let's get together and chat. That is such a shift in kind of a question, because, shall we get together and have a chat, catch up? Means you're willing to give up time. And that's our greatest asset on this earth. A text going, how are you? Yeah, you've cared enough to check in with them, and that's great. But if you can just exchange that gift of time this year, to be together doing something to share a human experience, you have absolutely no idea how powerful that could be for somebody else. You could be the reason why someone in 2024 tries a little bit harder to put themselves back out into the world and to trust again, or just make somebody smile. What a beautiful gift that is this Christmas. To make someone smile, to make someone feel cared about, to make someone feel loved, to make someone feel cherished. And that is what Arthur needed in the holiday. He just wanted somebody who wanted to be with him for who he was, not because of what he'd achieved, not because of what had happened in the past, but for the person he was now. He didn't want to be a burden to someone. And people often think that they are. A lot of people think that they are a great burden on society and on their friends and family. There are times where you're not going to want to give up that time, but that's the time truly that makes the greatest difference. I just want to wish you an incredible Christmas and say, if you are feeling lonely this Christmas, and that's a song right there, right? That please reach out to somebody. Please reach out to someone. Please do not isolate yourself. I hope that 2024 is a great year for you. And I hope that within these words, you hear at least that I have shared that journey of loneliness. And I've always thought to myself that it's one of the hardest things, being lonely. So just know that you have my thoughts and my good wishes. And I truly, truly, truly hope that you have those people around you that make you feel whole. And if you can, reach out to somebody. Take care. And until next time, go forth with the promise of possibility. Take care.